Really wish that would stop happening. So some things to note about the draft. Generally on Blackheart's Bay, you really want a jungler. So Sonya is one of the best junglers in the game. Sylvanas can be. With paralysis at level 1, she can do siege camps without taking any damage, but it takes her a long time to do it until she has Barb Shot, which is level 7, which is a long time to wait. And you want a really, really good solo laner. Tyrande doesn't have any wave clear, and Medic doesn't have any wave clear. Right? So these 3 heroes need to make up for that. Tracer's wave clear until 13 is just awful. So this comp is, like, terrible for this map. Like, absolutely, absolutely terrible. The only way they win is if they can pick people off. If they can deny, particularly people who are carrying coins. They need to steal coins from other players in order to win the game. Whereas, you know, there's Chen can reasonably solo lane, although you shouldn't do it as the tank, which he is because Senya's a bruiser. Sonya can reasonably solo lane. Right, they have tons. This draft is just better across the board. There's no way in which this draft is worse.
I'm giving you 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the battle begin.
So we're starting out pretty standard. Everyone's going 5-man mid. A lot of people don't understand why you fight over vision. And there's a simple reason you fight over vision, because it determines if you get the first chest. Right? So, think about this. You always want to set the game up in such a way, if you can, where your enemy has no good decisions. Right? No good decisions. The first wave, normally what happens is you clear the first wave on a map because it's the first wave that gets there. And if you clear the wave as 5, you can rotate. It's very simple. Right? The problem is, on this map, if you clear this wave, if you don't clear this wave first, you won't be ready to start mid-chest. So you're either going to miss the top wave, which matters, or you're not going to get all 5 coins. If the enemy team clears the wave and you don't, then you're in a scenario where you have to give up the chest or you have to give up experience. You don't. You have to pick one. If you win the fight for vision, even if it's just via poking and not necessarily via getting a kill, if all you do is chunk someone out, and you, as a result, can clear your wave safely, then you've pretty much guaranteed you're going to get middle chest. That's a huge deal, right? Particularly if you have a strong solo laner. That also means you can guarantee, if your solo laner wins the 1v1, you can guarantee bot. That guarantees 10 coins. So there is a reason that everyone fights over vision. You receive Medic getting chunked out instantly. Muradin goes down as well. Li Ming gets counter-killed by Sylvanas. That was pretty funny, actually. So the priority here should be clearing the wave. We see Happy is already on it. Odious is going to grab it. Did he go start off level 1? No, he went Combat Technician. Oh, yeah, he went Dash. Why did he dash in there? He didn't need to dash in there. That's weird. Here we see Marsh and Hugs for Drugs just grabbing the chest. They can grab everything really, really quickly and just get out of here, which is exactly what they do. It was funny because she was standing still while Sylvanas just, like, auto-attacked her. And we have Chen in the bot lane. So here's the first non-standard thing, and I would say this is non-standard just because this is Hero League. Marsh is a well-known Grandmaster player. Yeah. Marsh is a well-known Grandmaster player. He's by far the best player on this team. So even though you would normally want your tank with the team, Marsh is going to enable a lot more plays than he could if he was just solo laning. Whereas Chen, even though Chen can enable a lot of picks in the early game, if you can get off good cues for, and get those immediate body blocks, realistically, a significantly better player on a similar role is going to have a greater impact. So I understand why Chen's in the bottom lane here. right? But normally, if everyone in this comp and this team were equal level players, Sonya should be down here. And this is one of those things that I think matters a lot in Hero League. If there's clearly a hero on your or a player on your team who's significantly better than you are, A, you should probably listen to them when they call shots, and B, you should make yourself as light as possible to carry, which is what Curve's doing. So they won 9 out of 10 coins here, which is pretty ridiculous. This is okay. So this is a mistake. You don't want to immediately turn in your coins. Having coins puts pressure on the enemy team because they don't want to let you turn in the coins, right? Particularly, you just saw the Tyrandal. You don't know where anyone else is. The Muradin. Here, let me just. Can I not do this? I guess I can't do this. Oh, they actually have the vision. So there's three of the enemy team that are visible, but you just saw the Tyrant here, but you don't know where the other ones are. And you know that Sonya is top. Your team's rotating to you, so you could probably turn these in safely. But is it worth the risk? We're gonna get the delay here. Might be able to get a pick on the Tron because she came in from the wrong side, essentially. Tygus needs to dash in at this point to get the stutter. Ends up getting the kill, and they actually give up their only coin. That was safer than I thought. That was honestly safer than I thought. I didn't think about the fact that Muradin and Medic were standing in vision range. So here's a fun fact. If the enemy team has vision, don't stand in it. Right? If the enemy team has vision, don't stand in it. Medic and Muradin were standing right here. They weren't even clearing the wave. They were just standing here. They were mounted. If they'd just been down here, like literally a few pixels further down, that turn-in would have been considered dangerous instead of safe. In general, though, you really do want to push up your lanes and get a fort before you get a turn-in. If you don't kill at least one fort before you turn in, the fort, or one tower, there we go. If you don't kill at least one tower before a turn-in, the fort will live. And then the next time you turn in, the fort will, die to the turn-in, but then the top fort won't die. In order not to be turning in 22 to like 24 coins per turn-in in the late game, you really want to soak efficiently and get your lanes pushed out. Where did Sonya die? Sonya died top. She got rotated on 3v1. Or he. I guess since we know who's playing it, we can say he instead of the character's gender. That was Muradin and Sylvanas. Apparently they got chunked out for their trouble. So this is another reason that you just don't fight over turn-in, right? Because in the early game, you want all the lanes to be soaked as often as possible. If you go to turn-in and you have coins, your team will come with you even if it's a bad decision. But then you're going to be missing soak, and now there's all sorts of soak missed. All right, and now we're going to see Marsh do the correct thing, which is start camping. Oh, no, he's actually doing soak. So, okay, so Marsh should be soaking. Or Marsh should be getting this camp right now, but he's actually making up for the fact that his team isn't soaking by soaking. You guys want to rewind? I guess we can rewind. Rewinding replays, though, is super painful. I'm just going to warn you. Also, it bugs out the overlay. Basically just invaded them. Had medic. Had an ult. There's actually a lot of action happening everywhere on the map. So this is one of those games that we're talking about, Grandmaster level players, but because they're fundamentally misplaying the map, there's all sorts of mistakes being made. Be the rewind command? Really? Tracer's trying to poke out Marsh in lane here, but you can't actually poke a Sonya out of lane when she has a wave to sustain off of with Whirlwind. Now that the wave's gone, she has to back up. Not quite gonna die. Probably stayed a little bit too long there. Ended up trading with the Morales because Curve rotated, which is not exactly ideal, just because the medic doesn't have wave clear or Merc ability, and Marsh does. So by trading 1 for 1 there when they're not actually behind or ahead, they're even on experience. Losing your wave clear is always slightly worse than losing your not wave clear in the laning phase of the game. So Tygus is like, hey guys, we can't let them turn in. While the rest of his team is not there. Turn-in's usually the worst thing to fight over on this map. The best time to turn in is when you have such a distinct advantage on the map in terms of lane pressure that the enemy team can't afford to contest the turn-in. By going to turn in to defend it by yourself, or going to turn in when you don't need to, when you don't have enough coins to turn in, you're usually just falling further behind for no particular reason. Particularly, they're up against a comp that cannot clear Merc camps efficiently. The Sonya will be able to once she hits 7 if she takes Barb Shot. But if they were just soaking all the lanes and letting Sonya do camps, they would be ahead even if they lost turn-in. But they had all 10 coins, and then they continually fought over turn-in trying to turn them in when they haven't even gotten tower yet. Again, it's not efficient to turn in if you haven't killed at least one tower. And now they'll end up losing all their coins because of the brawling. Even though the kills are even, their kills were less significant because they didn't lose their wave clear, and they didn't lose. Red didn't lose their coins. They stole the other team's coins. That's close. I can feel Marsh's frustration right now. You can see him, he's just soaking. He's like, okay, once I get to 10, I can probably carry. Oh, and he missed his Q. He missed his Q. I've done that. That makes me feel really good. Red team's doing the right thing here. They don't have any wave clear, right? So they're just sticking together to make up the fact they don't have any wave clear by being together. It means they're missing soak, but they can do camps pretty fast because they have a lot of single target damage. And if they continually get picks, it doesn't matter if they're missing soak, right? The problem is the strategy is going to cease to work when you get too far ahead, but that's a first world problem. Oh, we're too far ahead. The kills barely give us any experience anymore. Hoo-hoo. But they do have a Sylvanas, so whenever they are that far ahead, they can just push a lane and get real structure damage, which will increase the value of their turn-ins. And if they're far enough ahead that they can always guarantee all the coins, then they're going to be really good. So, trying to ignite a second turn-in, this will give them level 10. This is correct, right? 8 versus 9. This is literally the only chance blue team is going to have to fight for a full level. Because as soon as the enemy team gets turn-in, they're going to get 10 off the turn-in. It will almost completely kill the top area. But regardless, it will give them level 10. So that if they don't start and win a fight right here, they're going to have to wait for about a minute and a half to soak 10. And during that time, they're going to have to play very passively. And they could, they're going to lose more Merc camps. The enemy team's going to get more coins, and it's going to start to sell off. Marsh is waiting for a heal. Curve got a little overextended there. And They kind of trickled in. Blue team kind of trickled in a few people at a time. They weren't all there. One of the best things you can do is wait till your whole team's there. The problem is the last person to show up was the Li Ming, and the Li Ming represents all their poke. When you're trying to deny a turn-in, whenever you're on a turn-in-centric map, you need poke heroes to deny the turn-in. So they have quarterback on Tychus, right, for the range, and then their other poke is Li Ming. But Li Ming was here. Li Ming was not a turn-in. Bye, Ange. I'm really tired, by the way, guys, so I'm, like, bringing up relevant points, but they're not in a cohesive order. Why is Marsh not using his self-heal? He used it a few times. How many times has that Tychus died? 4. One of the big reasons that Tychus is dying, actually, is he's playing very far forward, which you kind of have to do as Tychus because his range is pretty limited, but he also didn't take Shrug It Off at 1. If you take Shrug It Off at 1, you can afford to play far forward and still get focused and not eat all your healer's mana. When you take Dash, you're basically saying, I'm using this exclusively for escaping or chasing. So as soon as someone starts focusing me, I just run away. For the record, the Tychus is the person who submitted this replay. And he has improved significantly at Tychus in the interim. This is a pretty old game. It might have been on cooldown, Lord Boo. I actually can't check because this is the Blizzard default UI, which means I can't click on heroes and see what they're doing because it's stupid. Focus on this real quick. So this fort, or this tower, I keep saying that, this tower had taken like 10% damage when this turn-in happened. We're just gonna look at this for a second. 6 shots to go. I believe it's 1 shot to kill the well. Cooldowns don't show up on this. So look at that. Look at that. The fort had taken some damage, and now everything, or the wall had taken some damage, and now everything is gone. If no damage had been done to the tower, then this wouldn't have killed the fort. The fort is worth just as much XP as both towers, right? So by killing a fort, which is relatively easy to do in comparison to killing, or by killing a tower, which is relatively easy to do in compared to killing a fort, you can guarantee the fort, which gives you twice as much as experience. It's the action bar at the bottom. Oh, look at that. Alright, we'll just keep that on. We'll see how often Marsh remembers to use Ferocious Healing. So now it's 10 versus not 10, or I should say heroics versus not heroics. And heroics versus not heroics, red team can be really aggressive if they wanted to. They could actually just go do boss right now. They have Hunter's Mark on Tehran, they could just burn it down if they all win as 5. It would be really, really fast. They are 8 coins off of turn-in, and there are 1, 2... There's only 4 coins on the map. So for now, blue team is safe. Blue team just doesn't have anything to do, but they're not afraid of getting punished for anything, except maybe boss, but since they see them not doing it, they're in good shape. They just need to soak 10, and then they can force a fight at turn-in, because they have turn. They want to force a fight before the enemy team hits 13, because you never want to fight down talent tiers. This is perfect. This is a good way of forcing a fight, because everyone wants to fight over chests. Tracer just erases that chest. Tracer aggressively going into enemy territory. Fight can still be forced. It looks like we are going to see a fight forced. Marsh went leap. Okay. So I kind of want to rewind, but Li Ming was right here. Right? Li Ming was right there. The tank is here. The bruiser's here. The support is here. Li Ming is pretty overextended, technically. Not as overextended as the Tychus, who is like nowhere near his team. This is one of those things that I think people don't understand about rotations. If you're a DPS, you need to wrap around when you rotate, so you end up behind your tank and between your tank and the enemy team. If you see the entire enemy team here, that's not an invitation to start a fight. If your tank's here and you're up here and the entire enemy team is here, you can't walk down to get behind your tank. It doesn't work that way. You have to come all the way around. The way you avoid this situation is you go around in the first place, right? You don't expose yourself to that kind of risk. Does leap make sense versus double support? So they don't really have any stuns on the team. And Marsh is probably trying to erase someone. Marsh took focus attack. So if you leap on someone, you can immediately attack them with focus attack. And if they try and get away, you can immediately cue them for the micro stun and attack them again and get at least 2 slams in that duration. Which means that you can basically kill someone by yourself every time your heroic's up, as long as it's a squishy hero. Tyrande, Sylvanas, and Medic will all die to this. Tracer will die to this if you can hit her. Which is obviously harder than it sounds. So it's not that the leap is good versus double support. It's that it enables Marsh to kill someone. Right? And Marsh is... You can tell by the way Marsh is playing that he feels like he needs to carry the game. Not necessarily agreeing with him, I'm just saying I can tell that's how he feels. They're backing up here, because they can't fight. They can't start a fight. So this is the big reason that Li Ming dying is so bad. You can't start a fight 5v4. You just can't. If someone dies immediately at the beginning of a fight, that fight's over. It's just over. Your job as a team at that point is just to leave, just to disengage. Unless you're MVP Black, in which case you can occasionally win weird 3v4s. I don't even know how they do that. I'm going to be honest. I've watched those replays and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. The moment someone dies on your team, unless you're about to secure a kill, you're going to secure a kill in the next second and a half. Your job is now to leave. You've lost that fight. That fight's over. Oh. So I've never talked about this before on stream, but it's actually a fundamental rule in the game, which I think is pretty interesting. And it has to do with experience and being behind. Has to do with experience and being behind. If you lose every single team fight, but follow the rule that you disengage as soon as one person dies, and if you soak every single lane consistently, and do your best never to miss any soak, and you have comparable wave clear to your opponents, you will never be more than 2 levels behind. You will never be more than 2 levels behind. Which is really important, because if you're never more than 2 levels behind, at most you're 2 levels from fighting on an even talent tier. Right? So this is a pretty good example. All 3 forts are gone. Red team has gotten 2 basically uncontested turn-ins. Red team has 10 kills to 5. And because Marsh constantly rotated to make sure the team didn't miss soak, and because Rhaegar was a god in the top lane and kept double soaking, we actually haven't talked about this. Rhaegar was double soaking top every time his team was making a bad decision. We probably should have talked about that more, but Rhaegar was actually double soaking top with Lightning Shield every time his team was making a bad decision. If you soak every single lane, you will never be more than 2 levels behind, which means you're never more than 2 levels from taking an even fight in terms of talent tiers. If you're ever more than 2 levels behind, you didn't soak correctly, and that's your fault. Being behind can be the result of bad decisions. Being more than 2 levels behind is the result of fundamentally misplaying the game. Even against Grandmaster players. I had a game in Team League where it was me and some Platinum Diamond players against nothing but Grandmasters. And we lost the game, but we were never more than 2 levels behind. So If you're losing a fight, leave the fight. You don't stay. And yes, unsuspected, you're absolutely right. The Tychus making a bad rotation. So Li Ming and Tychus both made bad rotations. Li Ming died. Tychus forced the Ancestral out of his support, which is bad. Forcing your support to burn a heroic cooldown that otherwise would not have needed to be burned is bad. And here we have Marsh with the outplay. So Marsh had enough coins to solo turn in, and the red team was just chasing. They're like, yeah, we can get a kill, and Marsh just wrapped around, got a turn in, and then left.
Enough to buy my services for now. Load the cannons!
Marsh is carrying this game.
Aye.
Alright. And he's not carrying it by doing like a lot of damage. He's carrying it by not missing soak, and he's carrying it by just outplaying the enemy team on a strategic level. Is there really a fight going on here? Oh my god. Okay, so this is a 5v5. This is a 5v5 without most of the heroics and against a talent tier. Let's see how this goes. Looks like Leap missed. Although they're fighting on a bridge, which is good for Sonya because Whirlwind on a bridge is really good. Sonya ends up dying. So, think about this. If the Tychus hadn't tried a dangerous rotation where he didn't let his tanks engage for him, right? Because the problem was the Tychus was trying to engage in a fight without letting the tank engage. It's the tank's job to engage. Tank's job to engage. Can I rewind a bit? Who initiated that fight? I guess we can rewind a bit. It's the tank's job to engage. Because the Tychus didn't respect that, tried to engage a fight on his own, baited out the Ancestral, the Sonya died right there 100% because Ancestral was not available. Right? So they lost this fight. It looks like Curve. It looks like Curve is chasing Muradin. So Chen chasing Muradin. Muradin's a little out of position, so that's kind of okay. But then Tracer comes in. Tracer goes deep. I don't know how. No one focused that Tracer. That's amazing. Okay. We see the leap being initiated. So Marsh basically initiated full 5v5 and died for it as a result. They try to get the heal with the barrel, but isolating a Muradin, maybe not the best idea. They do end up getting the counter kill on the Muradin, which is technically acceptable. And they get a kill on Sylvanas because of the resets. Which is technically acceptable, right? Any scenario when you're behind and you trade 1 for 1 is fine. Trading 2 for 1 is awesome. To be fair, 13 talents tend to be a little lackluster. Let's test that assessment. 30% increase in healing. Thunderstrike. If this had been healing static, Muradin would have actually lived, for the record. Windrunner. This basically doubles Sylvanas' potential burst. And Ricochet, which is a bad talent. So yeah. Pretty lackluster in this case. Not all 13 talents are lackluster. It's very hero dependent. Leaving ability to die. For the record, if you're ever up against a Tracer, like 80% of Tracer's damage comes from the combination, comes from her heroic, Quantum Spike, plus melee, which is why we usually see melee talents as opposed to talents like Untouchable. If you're a Li Ming and there's a Tracer all over you, and you know the Tracer's going to be all over you all game, take Force Armor, and you won't die. It's a great talent for not dying to Li Ming, or not dying to Tracer as Li Ming. Astral Presence is a bad talent on all but 2 maps anyway, but... So Tracer trying to do the aggressive turn-in because her team's ahead. Curve doing the zoning. This is another fight they just don't want to take. And you can see Marsh is like, I don't want to do this. Guys, I'm going to do this camp. Hey guys, 13, I'm doing this camp. I'd like to point out again that this is a Grandmaster level game in Hero League, which is the competitive aspect of this game. This is a good invade, honestly. Sylvanas with Barb Shot plus Windrunner can just absolutely burn this camp down in no time at all.
Let's liven up this place.
And here's here's the correct thing. So whenever you have an advantage with a wave clear poor comp, particularly when you have a Sylvanas, you should just push. You should just push. You should get a bigger structure advantage than you already have. It's not practical to soak all the lanes when you don't have wave clear. So this is actually the correct position for red team. I'm surprised to see it happening, but it's 100% the correct thing to do. That was a good wailing arrow. Sony's getting absolutely raised. Mars is a little far forward there, to be honest. That should have been the Li Ming's job, to poke everyone off and to force any damage, and then once they got low. But Li Ming rotated back a little bit, and the silence prevented the Rhaegar from making the save, which he otherwise would have been able to do with Ancestral. So that's a keep down. And a full talent tier advantage. Remember we talked about this? If you make good decisions, you'll never be more than 2 levels behind. This is a 3-level lead. It depends, Vimquang. It depends. If you're focusing chests or channeling a turn-in while your tank is zoning for you, then you should keep doing that, because your tank is trying to zone for you so that it will get done. But if it's like a full-on team fight that your team is fighting 5v4 because you're doing channeling, that's the different. So they don't even have turn in here. Marsh is trying to go for the invade. Okay. Sonny's not a tank. Sonny's a bruiser. Alright. This is a bad decision. This is a bad decision by March. March is doing something really specifically here. Really specific here. Which is, he's decided his team can't soak lanes. He's decided his team is so far behind structurally that if they engage in a typical game, they're guaranteed to lose. 100% that's what he's decided. So he's YOLOing in. He wants to secure a kill with Leap because he's pretty sure the team is split doing camps. He's pretty sure, because the team has been split whenever they've been ahead so far, that there's some people doing camps here and some people doing camps here, so he's going for the aggressive invade. His team didn't follow up, except for the healer. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to bet he kills one person, gets Ancestral, maybe kills another person, and then dies. Okay. So that went a lot better than it could have. Because the medevaced over the wall immediately, just to get away, there basically wasn't a healer because Tyrande died. So 2 kills, ate the Ancestral, and lived through Hunter's Mark. So that was incredible, actually. If his team had been as aggressive as him, if his team had been like, yeah, we need to follow Marsh and make plays, then I think that actually would have resulted in even more kills. And I think the medevac actually could have been burned down in time for the medic to die. So I'm pretty sure the Muradin would have died, the medic would have died. That would have been 4 kills instead of 2. His team had been on top of him. And yeah, you really do need to sometimes take huge risks when you're far behind. I say you should never fight down a talent tier. Sometimes you're going to outright lose the game if you don't fight down a talent tier. If you're on like Cursed Hollow and it's 19 versus 20 and you don't have a keep in a lane and you know they're on boss, you got to go contest boss. If that boss happens, you're going to lose the game. I'm not sure that this was that desperate a scenario. Is that campfire underwater? This campfire is right there. I don't see any other campfires. No, it's a chest. It's a treasure chest. Blackheart's Bay is modeled after Booty Bay, for those people who don't recognize the tile set. And in Booty Bay, there's always chests underwater. So we have Tychus doing the D-push, which is necessary. He doesn't... You know, he has good enough wave clear that it's something he can absolutely do. For those of you not familiar, Booty Bay is a area in World of Warcraft on the southern edge of the right continent, whose name I can't remember.
Let's liven up this place.
Azeroth is the name of the world. It's the name of the continent. It's been a long time since I played WoW. So on the back of that, they got a turn in. Kalimdor is the other one. Kalimdor is the new continent. The Eastern Kingdom? I don't think it's the name of the continent. It's the name of the northern part of the Eastern continent, right? We were talking about it, and then Marsh just died. Is it really called the Eastern Kingdom? Sorry. That seems like a dumb name. I thought it had a name. I thought it had like a better name. The other continent is called Kalimdor. So they went for aggressive invades on the camps, trying to get coins. There were people all here, so they took a 5v4 down a talent tier, and 16 is 16 is the third most powerful talent tier. So if you take a fight down 16, you know, you have vulnerable, you have ranger, you have locked and loaded, you have given the axe, you have second opinion. You're probably gonna lose, and they did. But again, they might have been able to win that fight. They might have been able to outplay. But this is actually a case where Marsh made a mistake. The only reason they won that fight that they did earlier is because Rhaegar Ancestral. You can't be YOLO as a melee hero when you've only been living because your support has been burning their heroic on you, and your support doesn't have the heroic. So that was a little bit of Marsh's fault. He got cut out. He felt like he could outplay, but he didn't really realize it was 5v4, which gives you an idea of the fact that everyone makes mistakes. But I understand why he's frustrated. That Ancestral happened way too late to do anything. Rhaegar knows what's up. Alright, so red team has Mercy and says, okay, we got the keep, we got bottom keep, let's just go get boss. For the record, red team could have ended the game right there. So, especially because they had the wave pushing up, right? They had the catapults coming in. If they had just cleared this wave that's about to spawn, and continually push core, they would have been able to win. And even if they couldn't have won, they could have done real core damage and possibly just left. So this is the part where red team throws the game. This is that decision right there was the throw. We have identified it. I didn't watch this replay in advance, by the way. I'm just really good at identifying when throws happen. They absolutely could have ended the game. Also, I mean, against a... Li Ming was dead. Li Ming is the one that missed the Ancestral. Rhaegar and Shen were alive. Tychus was going to be up in 7 seconds. So turn-in plus boss will secure this top keep, but... Oh, they still have 13 coins, actually. So they're well on their way to having another turn-in. At this point, they could literally just soak 20, wait till they have enough coins for turn-in, and then force a fight at a turn-in that's unfair and end the game. That would be the patient, correct play, because it almost guarantees a win. Blue team has to force a fight before that happens. They need to force a fight and win. Alright. So they... Instead of doing the patient correct play, they opt to force a fight at bottom, pushing with their Siege Giants. Let's see how that goes for them. Good Willing Arrow, but the Ancestral goes off. Mark on the Rhaegar begins to disengages. Chen goes crazy with Barrel. Tehran dies, which gives resets. Reset. Maybe? Oh, he lives. Windrunner's gonna happen here? Windrunner? Nope. Reset. And that's an ace. They can kill him out of back in time. That's the game. Yep. They actually can't core. For the record. They can get the bottom key, but then they'll have to leave. They might lose top keep to do this. I think they will lose top keep. Just to the normal anyway. Really close. Yeah, Marche is really good. I think he's 13 Grandmaster right now. For the record, in the near future, Marsh will be a captain for Educational Scrims. So if you think Marsh is really good and you would like to play with him, make sure you come to Educational Scrims. They need to back off because they're actually going to straight up lose the game to catapults if they don't. See, there's no way they actually could have ended there. So, Marche dies, again, because Ancestral's not on cooldown. It's like every single time. Every single time Ancestral either goes on another hero or is on cooldown, Marsh dies. Because he's initiating these fights, and he's, like, depending on his team to follow up. For the record, a single turn-in from red team does not end the game. A single turn-in will 100 to 0... Oh, actually, it will. Never mind. I was going to say a single turn-in will 100 to 0 core if core is the only building alive. But this keep has a little bit of health left, but this is an 84% health keep with no shield, so it actually... Turn-in does actually win the game. And they're going to get free 10 coins here, and there are 8 coins on the map. And they have 20. So they can... red team, if they're really fast and efficient here and split up and get every camp, they can actually end. If Tracer had gone and gotten these 2 doubloon camps, that would have been 4. Plus 10 is 14. 16, 17. Or 14, 15, 16, 18. Or maybe even 18. Skip the siege and just get all the doubloon camps. She didn't do that. It looks like they're just trying to turn in piecemeal. The problem with turning in piecemeal is you're not taking advantage of the fact that you have an advantage. If you grabbed all the doubloon camps and turned in, you would still have a few seconds of this talent advantage where the enemy team just couldn't afford to fight, and you would have basically won the game. The right call being made by the blue team. They don't have turn in. They don't have to rush in there face first. They can wait. They can also get 20. So Li Ming soaks mid. Really good decision there. So now it's 20 versus 20. Initiate with the bleed. Actually does end up hitting the Tehran there. Tehran gets instantly erased by the follow-up from Li Ming, even though it was a little late. Medic is almost dead. Doesn't manage to meta back out here, I think. They can get out. But her team dies as a result. And now they can end. They have a keep down. All they have to do is go core. It's a really good grenade. Wait, they're not going core? They could go core there. They absolutely could go core there. I mean, it's a little bit risky versus a Muradin. Without you having a tank. Alright.
Blocker with you.
That will secure middle keep. It will not secure any top. It will not secure top keep. I wonder why they don't think they can go core. Sonya is one of the scariest heroes to have on core because with Warpaint, even though her attack speed gets slowed down, I mean, it isn't a Wrath Sonya. Wrath Sonya can definitely tank core a little bit more safely. At this point, because this game basically ends, even though it doesn't strictly end, it basically ends with a turn-in. Red team just needs to focus on getting 6 coins, which means blue team needs to focus on getting all the coins on the map in order to lose. Oh, middle keep actually lived. That's so bad. This is a 5v2. Marsh is gonna die. Barrel with the win. Ignore Pain gets popped. Oh my god, he lives. He lives because of Ignore Pain. Ignore Pain is so broken. Alright. Marsh should be dead right now, for the record. If Sonya didn't have broken level 20 on him. Leap onto the Tracer. Tracer ends up going down. Reset gets the Sylvanas kill as well. And then at this point we just spin to win. Spin, spin, spin. Win, win, win. Successful goes down there. That wasn't necessary, but whatever. And that's an ace. Oh, that's true. Core doesn't slow attack speed anymore. It's only buildings. Red team definitely threw that game. I'm just gonna say it. Red team 100% threw that game. But blue team never needed to be behind.